frames. And as you can see, it's probably going to be around the middle of these two frames. So instead of stepping through these frames, what we can do is some shortcut keys yet again. We have these options down on the bar where you can go to the previous keyframe, which it'll jump straight across. Or if you read it a bit more, you can use the Alt Control left or Alt Control, sorry, the Alt or the Control left and right buttons. So if I use Control and tap the right button, now I go in between those two keyframe points, which is probably where you want to add that keyframe. You might need to get a little bit more practice down to be able to recognize if it is or if it isn't, but that will help you a lot in your speed as well. So we'll get that, quickly move that into position. Now, what I will do personally is I like to use the motion blur on my shape to make my life a lot easier. What this does require is that you have a very consistent edge. So what I mean by that is you're not from one frame to another changing where you're putting the line on your object. So as we can see here, we have a bit more of an edge here as opposed to this one. There's a little bit less of a sliver of the crossfade between those two objects. So we have to make sure that our edge is very good for that, to be able to do that. Otherwise, we will have to do the feather edge approach. So knowing when you need to switch between them, the approaches is very important. It comes with time learning that stuff. It's not as simplistic as just doing it. So I will turn the motion blur on, which I have, which is this one, this little button right here. And motion blur options. I personally, we're lucky that here at DNEG that they do have some pre-built-in values for us, because this isn't always set to center and always 0.5. I find most cameras are actually around the 2.5 as a little gotcha for future. But we'll have a look at that and just see that piece of leg and how well that actually follows the leg. Now, unfortunately, my stream isn't really giving a good understanding as to the high quality edge or lack of quality in the edge, which is going to be a little bit problematic to QC that. Now, what we can do is a few different ways to QC. Now, when I'm saying QC, I should clarify what I mean by that. I'm talking about quality control. So we need to ensure that what we're doing is up to a certain standard. So to do that, we have a few different options. So obviously you can use the matte option by pressing M on the viewer, and that will bring up matte and you'll see it as a red. However, you can't render it that way and share it with a lead with that setup. So you might need to have some other choices available to you. So if we use our pre-molt, you can actually see that edge straight away stand out. So our pre-molt node, what that does is it grabs our red, green, blue channels. So if I use my shortcut keys on my viewer here, my R is going to be my red channel, my G is my green channel, and my B is my blue channel. And we have one more, which is our Y, which is our, well, actually we have two more. Y, which is our luminance, which can be useful on so many other fronts. So we're not going to focus too much on the light luminance one, but Y normally is the notation for luminance. A is the last one, which is our alpha channel. Now, our footage here, if we look, has only got the red, green, and blue channels, which we can see by these three little bars. So that's all that this has. So it won't have an alpha channel. So if I hit A, we'll see nothing. We'll see black, which is what I would expect. Now, another one we might use through this process, so I'm just going to close this for a moment, is our pixel values here, which is very, very useful. And I want you to start paying attention to this area. It is very, very, very helpful. Particularly if you end up comping in kind of the way that I do comp, which is I'm more mathematically inclined. I'm not that big on the artistic component these days. I'm more focused on getting the correct values. So what you can do is you can use your control button and you can select anywhere around on any pixel, and it will tell you the exact values of those pixels based on the channels themselves. So in that instance, at this exact pixel here, this is the red value, the green value, the blue value, and the alpha value. And we do have the hue, saturation, the actual value, and luminance value. So you can see a whole range of data around an exact pixel and its X coordinates and Y coordinates. There is additional data that you'll see about the rest of the shot, which is our format, and our B box, which we'll discuss B boxes or bounding boxes a bit later down the path. But very good to be able to use that. And if you use Control Shift, you can actually select a whole bunch of pixels and get the average of all of those together, which can be very useful when you're trying to do keying operations. So why I'm kind of moving down that path of looking at that. But you'll also be able to see very quickly, we have no value in our alpha channel. So when we look down chain of when we're copying our alpha in, and we select a region where there is our roto, you should see 1. So we have an exact roto coming in, which is great. And if we hit our alpha channel there, we'll see exactly what our alpha looks like. So just that idea of being able to swap between channels is an important one, which we'll be looking back at again and again. And that will be something we'll be learning for the roto aspect maybe, and how to get RGBA mats. But this is step 1, is being able to pre-multiply. So I didn't answer the question as to what a pre-multiply is doing. It is taking our alpha channel, which in this case we know has a value of 1 here. I'll go back up here just so we can see it. And a value of 0 over here, and it is multiplying it by the red channel, the green channel, and the blue channel. So anything multiplied by 0 is 0. In this instance, 0, when we look at this, anything that's down in the lower values, in this case negatives, and some very low values is darker. Anything that has higher values is brighter. So that's why when you multiply it by the alpha, which has a value of 0 and 1, it goes to being either black, which is nothing, or 1 being multiplied against 1 gives its original. So that's what a pre-multiply is. There is a little bit of witchcraft that they're doing underneath the hood, I'll be fair, in some of this stuff, but nothing that you'd immediately notice. Normally around the alpha channel, if you're going above the range of 0 and 1. Normally our alphas stay between 0 and 1 as kind of like a rule. But if you do any tricks later on down the path, be aware pre-mult will clamp it to 0 and 1. Any questions at this point? Like I've been firing off here blindly into a camera, so please jump in, give me any feedback, give me any ideas where we're at. How are we going?
Any questions?
So,
Yeah.
why he is not taking the sightings? Because there are lots of particles.
Why he is not taking? So taking with doing roto with one shape will be difficult. You have to end up doing all the keyframes every frame. If you divide the shape wise, it will easier to move your shapes, and it is easier and time consuming. Instead of doing all the shapes in with one shape, splitting differently shape wise, it will help. It will go faster and it will give accurate result. You no need to if there is any mistake, you no need to go all the shapes and doing. It's wherever it is problem, you can take that shape and tweak it.
What about if it get expand, like the points are like I have used it as less, after some frames it get expand. What like
Yeah, you can add your points later stages.
like
What Chris is suggesting. So take the shape which required more points. To that